Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, and we've got rock and roll royalty in the house because it's an amazing night here at the Best Buy Theater for MusiCares and the Grammy Foundation, honoring one of the greatest of all time, Mr. Pete Townshend. Get ready for a great night behind the velvet rope. What an incredible organization to be honoring you tonight with this benefit concert. Talk to me about having MusiCares bestowing this honor around you.
Well, it's a great honor. It's a privilege. I'm grateful. You know, I've been something that, as you know, drug addiction and alcohol problems have been the bane of the Who's career to a great extent. You know, both managers suffering from it, but also friends. You know, people that aren't in the industry as well. It's great that the music business now has this organisation. I'm happy to be honoured by it.
This is such an incredible year for you. Obviously, the Who turning 50, Quadrophenia. I mean, so much great stuff. I've read that you're doing a novel. Talk to me about when you look at the legacy of what this band was able to accomplish. Looking back and reflecting, what goes through your mind?
Well, I'm 70 years old and I've got Rachel. That's one good thing.
That's a legacy.
It's a kind of maybe a bit of a rock star thing. Although Rachel, as you know, works with me as a composer and arranger. I think you know, maybe the thing is that maybe the reason why we've been able to come back to this 50th year with such vigor is that we took nearly 10 years out. When Keith died, we tried to keep going for a while, and then we decided we couldn't. Well, I decided we couldn't. So we actually had, really, it's a sort of a 38th anniversary. But, you know, and in that time off, I did all kinds of other things. I know what the value of other things is as well. And so, you know, I'm not quite so kind of biblical about the rock industry as some artists are. You know, I don't mind spending time off the road. I'm not obsessed by being on the road. But this year, it's just been delightful, really. I think mainly because Roger and I have found a way to coexist, which is truly based on give and take and friendship and respect. And, you know, it used to be, it wasn't a war, but it was an entanglement.
This band, The Who, they did okay over 50 years.
Yeah,
right?
they sort of got there. No, they're unique. Very unique, and I was saying to somebody earlier that for me, when I joined them, I joined them first in December 1970, and they taught me about being unconditionally generous to the less fortunate. We started doing charity stuff from the early 70s. We formed our own charity, we did many shows, and we fed it out to people on a very non-public level. And for me, it was an education. And they're great people, and I've been with them, and I owe them a lot. And I've been with them all those years, 45 years, and it's my lifetime.
You're being honored tonight with Pete Townshend. How crazy is it when you look back over 45 years? First of all, and I wanted to also talk about MusiCares because I think the work they're doing is great. But when you look back over 45 years, how crazy is it? Time flies, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The 45 years. Well, and we all changed. And we all changed over that period, you know, and I hope that we're nicer people. And, you know, I look at Roger and Pete, and I think if the three of us have now matured to the point where we're the kind of people that you would like to have as a friend, that's it.
We're honoring a pretty special dude here tonight, Mr. Pete Townshend, and Bruce Springsteen's performing. You know a little bit about Bruce. Talk to me about the legacy of Pete Townshend.
Pete Townshend, one of the most important people in my life, and I think, you know, we both grew up with the British invasion being extremely influential. For somebody in a band, you know, it was the first time we saw bands. You know, we didn't, before the Beatles, there was individuals and singing groups and instrumental groups, but there was, you know, no real bands playing and singing and eventually writing their own stuff. So it was a very new thing that got me wanting to do it. You know, it was the Stones and the Beatles and the Who and the Kinks and and so many of them, but Pete really stood out as an amazing songwriter right from the beginning, you know.
I've got the now unemployed Paul Shaffer and the one and only Billy Idol.
Yeah, who always employed, always gainfully employed.
Always, we might have to hire you, Paul, to run the band.
I played for him, my goodness, in the 80s. Certainly not since then. We had a number of great musical experiences together.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of great musical experiences, tonight we're honoring one of the greats, the one and only Pete Townshend. Talk to me about the greatness and the legacy of Pete Townshend.
When I was a kid, you know, 1969, The Who were my favorite band, and for good reason. And I saw the original lineup a number of times back then, and I never got over it, and they have continued to get better and better, and they're just two of the classiest gentlemen, Curbishley and Townshend, in rock and roll. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yes. Bill Curbishley, fantastic person. I've known him. It's one of the few managers I've known practically my whole of my career, and I would go to him for help. You know, when I had to think about what's I going to do in my next step, I would go and talk to Bill Curbishley, and that's how great he was. That's how helpful people like Pete Townshend were to people like me in the music business. They really went out of their way to help you, you know, to be there for you, and that's fantastic when you're starting out. You know, somebody as great as that, giving a damn, it's huge.
Who are you most excited to see? I mean, we got Springsteen here. I mean, The Who. Do you sit back as a fan and say, I can't wait to watch this?
Absolutely. I mean, the musicians that are playing here tonight, The Who, Bruce is here, Joan Jett, Billy Idol, and it's a great New York night. But to see Bruce and The Who play together, that's going to be pretty fun.
What a night here. I mean, rock royalty, Pete Townshend, Billy Idol next to you.
Yes, I know. And here I am in the middle. But I mean, you know, it is wild, but I used to be on MTV, so I kind of almost feel like it's like a flashback to me.
MusiCares, what work they're doing. Talk to me about partnering up with them and the work they're doing.
Well, MusiCares is a charity organization of the Recording Academy. We realized 25 years ago that music people have their times of need and crisis, and there's no one there. There's no safety net. Who would be better than the Academy to do that? So we created this wonderful organization. 25 years later, we have a dinner every year, for example, in Grammy Week. This year was Bob Dylan that we honored, raised $7 million. That tells you the level of excellence here.
Being here with this wonderful organization, MusiCares, and supporting Pete Townshend. I mean, you, me, we're all fans of The Who. Yeah. Talk to me about when you're able to support someone like that in an organization like that. It's pretty cool, right?
It's very important. You know, music got me through a lot of difficult times, and a lot of people through a lot of, you know, it's just a great thing. The organization is just wonderful, and to be able to be a part of it, especially I was told about this like last minute. I was able to be a part of it, and when I started reading about it and seeing Peter and just knowing what was going on, I was like, this is craziness. So I was very excited to be here. It's pretty awesome.
Kevin Griffin, you're a huge supporter of MusiCares,
yes.
And honoring a pretty okay guy tonight, Pete Townshend, right?
Yes. When I heard that Pete was the honoree for this event, I jumped at the chance because I grew up like everybody else, being a Who fan and really being a fan of the solo stuff. So I'm secretly hoping he's going to, do some Let My Love Open the Door and Rough Boys and stuff like that. And and just the fact that it's a MAP Fund Benefit and MusiCares. I've been involved with MusiCares, or been aware of MusiCares since Hurricane Katrina, devastated New Orleans, and I'm from New Orleans, and I saw how they came in. They spent over $5.8 million relocating musicians, buying new instruments, real tangible things like. My road manager in Better Than Ezra lost his drums. He has a side project. They bought him new drums. When they do real things that affect the livelihood of musicians,